Disability is trending, and especially in the world of fashion, it seems to be trending quite a bit. From the runways of New York Fashion Week to Tommy Hilfiger making adaptive fashion, and organizations such as One Way of Dreams, disability is trending. And seeing this trend, it got me thinking, what's the economic cost of not including people with disabilities in the economy? There's an article currently on Medium written by myself called The Cost of Exclusion. I'll read a little bit. Last year, in the dirty December, I'm sure all of us saw that there was a runway featuring a British Ghanaian model with a prosthetic leg. As much as it put Ghana on the map, Ghana's already on the map, but as much as it brought attention to Ghana, for me, I looked at it with a different lens. I just saw how is the world responding to her and what was the reason why they decided to have her on the runway. I could only hope that this just means it's a new era for inclusion within Ghana and other spaces in addition to fashion. What does a country, a society, family, individual lose when people with disabilities are not included in society and the economy at large? When we talk about economic growth, innovation, and shared prosperity, we must confront an uncomfortable truth. Our labor markets leave too many people behind. Right now, I'm standing here at the Accra Conference Center and at the Africa Prosperity Dialogues, and over, I heard them talking about we need to be prosperous, we need to build a more inclusive and united continent. But the one thing that I'm standing here taking away from it all is they highlighted women in the inclusion, children, youth, but I did not hear anything pertaining to people with disabilities. People with disabilities make up an estimated 15% of the global population. But unfortunately, the participation in the workforce does not include us. The International Labour Organization says that the participation rate of people with disabilities in the labor market is 30% lower than those without disabilities. What can a country gain if we decided to train people with disabilities with different or unique skills to also participate and be included in our market? The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, they say that 40% of people with disabilities, they have jobs, but they're roughly 40% likely to be employed than those without disabilities. So there's a whole gamut of people that we're not including in economic development and country-wide development. There's billions lost in growth for a country, for a family, and individuals. One of the most striking findings in the research of this topic is the price of exclusion. That study estimates that excluding people with disabilities from the workforce costs countries between 3% and 7% of its GDP. Imagine how much more we would gain if we included this population in the economy. And this translates directly to billions of dollars or cities lost in economic activity. For example, South Africa loses the equivalent of nearly 7% of GDP due to lower participation of people with disabilities. Ethiopia, on the other hand, loses about 5% of its GDP. And that's the cost of not including people with disabilities in the workforce. I have tried endlessly to find the statistics for Ghana, the country in which I'm standing right now, but I'm not seeing anything. I know that there's been a lot of rhetoric for inclusion starting from last year's free tertiary education for people with disabilities to also be included in education, in tertiary education specifically. But I wonder when they're done with school, would they just be coming out and being unemployed and on the streets like we see many people with disabilities? So at Ability Talks, we've been talking a lot to advocates, people with disabilities in the inclusion space. And last month, we tried something, a solo podcast featuring me. And based on the benefits of that, moving forward, I'll be in your face all the time highlighting relevant topics, relevant things in the disability space so we can pay attention to that. So I'm really hoping that you will all like, follow, share, and subscribe to our platform. This has been the Ability Talks with Elizabeth Patterson, presenting to you the cost of exclusion. So please go and read the article as well. Thank you.